Finn's date wedged her way through the crowd with her elbows heading straight for me. What does she want? I had an all-at-once feeling of dread. Not an overpowering sense of dread, just a twinge of it. I was ready to leave, but she didn't give me a chance to go. There she was, right in front of me. I'd say face to face, but the reality is that she stood over me at almost 6 feet. I was looking at her flat, freckled cleavage, and when I wasn't, I was either looking at the tattoo of a red rose wrapped in barbed wire on her bicep, exposed by her sleeveless tank top, or leaning back in order to look up her nostrils. None of the perspectives were all that interesting. Who are you? She asked it like one of my poor, less mature 8th grade students might have done, bluntly. My name is Lily. Lily, huh? Fuck you very much. I stepped back from her, putting it as close to 2 feet of distance between us as I could manage on the overcrowded porch. I didn't respond. I didn't know what to say to her, and she laughed gruffly. I smiled, politely. I don't know why I did. Lily, like the singer. You know, the one who sings Fuck You. Alan? Oh, this was a generational gap. This really was like talking to one of my students. Only she was an adult, and I had no authority over her, and she was twice my size.
Right.
No, Lily like the flower, I think. It means rebirth, I said. And she stepped towards me and just stood there, silent. I guess she didn't know how to respond to me either. Everyone else was focused on the explosion of colors in the sky, and we stood there under the porch light, and I swear I could hear bugs crackling on the hot bulb protruding from the light over the oohs and ahs and the pops and the booms. She and I were as frozen in that moment as the ice in that old metal machine. Then she broke the ice. I'm not going to hurt him. I just need money, she said. Looking down to the wood-planked porch floor, my eyes passed over her denim miniskirt. It was dirty. She was sweating a triangle onto the front of it. Her thighs were bumpy like a chicken's. It wasn't chill. Poor diet, poor hygiene. She was wearing a worn pair of pink Converse sneakers. The lace in the left shoe had broken, and she had knotted it back together. They were too big for her. I think I can trust him. What did she mean? I wasn't worried about whether or not Finn could be trusted. I'm sure his gentleness is exactly why his wife had been able to leave him for another woman. I was raped by 2 men when I was 16, she said. She slapped a mosquito on her leg. She didn't wipe it away. Its mashed black and bloody body just lay there. It wasn't the first time that happened. My mom's boyfriend started doing it to me when I was 13, she said. She wasn't embarrassed to talk about something so personal, so traumatic. She didn't even bother to lower her voice. She said it almost matter-of-factly. I took a deep breath through my nose involuntarily, and I looked up to her eyes. She was just a child compared to my age. That must have been terrible for you. Did you tell your mom? I asked. I did. Was he arrested? She laughed. It wasn't a nervous laughter. It was condescending. My mom kicked me into the streets. Trying not to react, I couched my words carefully. Have you been living on your own since you were 13? I could see into the store as someone opened the door to come outside. Inside, a ceiling fan was slicing through the hot air. I stay places, but yeah, since I was 14. Where do you stay now? I was thinking he started doing it when she was 13, but her mom didn't kick her out until she was 14. How often did that happen? I'm staying across the street with a friend. We both turned and looked across the street. Across the street was a government-funded housing project for impoverished elderly and disabled who live in our town. She couldn't be a resident, so she was either sofa surfing, as the kids call it, with someone, or temporarily living with a client. Here you go, Finn said as he handed the woman, without a name, a plastic cup of wine. She took the cup from him and tossed the wine into the back of her throat, like a shot of whiskey or tequila, and handed it back to him. I'm going to go pack a bag and come right back. Do you think you could give me that 20 up front? I'll stop there.
Oh, that's good.